The Mysterious Religion of the Great Goddess. Part 1 of the Primal Myth. Dear viewer, today I would like to initiate you into one of humanity's greatest secrets. Hardly anyone knows about it, and yet it exists, hidden for many thousands of years. It is a mystery religion that shaped the destiny of humankind and peered deep into its soul. But what exactly is a mystery religion? Mystery means secret, hidden. Mystery religions were therefore secret religions. They had two groups of people, the general population and those who were initiated into the secrets of the religion. The initiates were forbidden, under penalty of death, to reveal certain taboos of the religion. They therefore encrypted things in their writings. These things were then only visible to the initiates. We know very little about the mystery religions. The initiates kept their vows. The mystery religion of the great goddess or goddess of life can be traced back to the beginning of the development of writing, and its religious works are also recognizable in the Middle Ages and into the modern era. Its reach extends from India to Spain, from Iceland to North Africa. But how could this mystery religion spread so widely and remain so prevalent for so long? The initiates of the mystery religion were not merely priests, but also bearers of secret knowledge in medicine, mathematics, metallurgy, astronomy, architecture, and so on. Often, the gods were bringers of culture who bestowed specific gifts. For that time, this knowledge represented a significant advantage in the struggle for survival, allowing the religion to spread throughout West Asia, Europe, and North Africa, and to be passed down for many centuries. But what is the primal myth? The primal myth is the narrative that underlies religion. In researching mythologies and literary works, I noticed that many mythologies ultimately told the same story, and not just individual motifs appeared, but often a consistent long sequence of motifs. Based on the numerous mythologies and transmitted motifs, I therefore reconstructed a fundamental myth. This can be imagined as similar to the reconstruction of a proto-language, such as Indo-European, where it was also observed that there were more than just coincidental similarities, and a proto-language was reconstructed from the various individual languages. This allows the motives and sequence of events to be reconstructed. The primal myth not only presents an interesting story, but also depicts the development of humankind. We see here the emergence of man from the animal kingdom, who becomes human through divine knowledge. Later, the first human becomes a great hunter. His son, however, is king and priest of a civilization with specialized professions, such as farmer and blacksmith. At the same time, human civilizations are repeatedly threatened by rampant lawlessness and godlessness, decadence, and a loss of morality. In this respect, the primal myth also possesses a frightening relevance today. The primal myth can be recognized in numerous works of world literature and world religions. However, this means that these works cannot be understood without knowledge of the primal myth. One may read the stories, but cannot find their meaning because they have been altered for the uninitiated in such a way that the primal myth is not readily apparent. Among the works of the mystery religion that contain the primal myth, we find, among others, the story of Sinuhe, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Bible, the Odyssey, the story of Krishna, on Isis and Osiris, the Golden Ass, the story of Feridun in the Shahnameh, the Nibelungenlied. But now I would like to introduce the primal myth and recount the story. The primal myth itself is divided into two parts. The first part tells the story of the love between the first human and the great goddess. The second part recounts the battle between the son of the great goddess and the first human against the god of death. In the beginning, a creator god appears. He creates himself from his word and thus brings himself into the material world. He is hermaphroditic and identical with the full moon, as well as the primordial light-filled river. However, the creator god can assume all forms. The creator god as the full moon is simultaneously the embodiment of the bright, magnificent city of the gods, which is called War or Ar. From within himself, the creator god creates his daughter, the great goddess or goddess of life, as I have also named her, and her brother, the god of death. The goddess of life is the goddess of the crescent moon. Her brother is the god of the dark side of the moon. The goddess of life is also called the hidden one or the veiled one, as she is also the goddess of hidden divine knowledge. The color white is associated with her. The god of death is also the god of war, destruction, and disorder, as well as the god of cunning, deceit, and hypocrisy. He is the god of intoxication and oblivion. But he is also the liberator of constraints and the redeemer of suffering. The color black is associated with him. Furthermore, the lion dragon also appears as a figure in the primal myth. The lion dragon is a hybrid creature, part lion and part dragon, and is both male and female. Sometimes, a third animal, the goat, is mentioned in connection with this hybrid creature, alongside the lion and dragon. Whether the lion dragon is an embodiment of the moon god or perhaps has a connection to the sun, I have not yet been able to determine. The lion dragon possesses a protective shell that makes it almost invulnerable. The lion dragon is probably the eldest son of the creator god. The creator god orders the universe and divides time. Then he creates the world, and together with his daughter, all plants and animals. They also fashion goats from the reddish-brown clay of the earth. Wine is used as their blood and lifeblood. The goats are created in the image of the creator god, whose horns allude to the moon god. The creator god breathes his immortal breath, and thus his immortal soul, into the living beings. The creator god's herd of goats is guarded by the lion dragon, who is also their wet nurse. Among the herd of goats is a boisterous, unruly billy goat who behaves wildly and aggressively. Nothing can calm the strong, aggressive animal. One night, the goddess of life has a disturbing dream vision. She dreams that she unites with a god and gives birth to a son. This son will be so powerful that he will become lord of the gods and the universe. He will possess a weapon no one can resist, a kind of lightning bolt. At the same time, he will dethrone the creator god. The goddess of life shares her dream with the moon god, who is also her mother. The creator god is horrified. He forbids the goddess of life from choosing a husband, and the goddess of life herself vows chastity. On a high rock, the creator god now creates a garden in which the goddess of life stands as an evergreen world tree. The garden is surrounded by a thorn hedge and is guarded by the lion dragon. Since the wild goat in the creator god's herd is completely uncontrollable, the gods decide to kill it. They commission the god of death to do so. However, he has other plans. for he intends to use the goat to free his sister and seize power for himself. Therefore, the god of death slaughters the wild goat's twin brother instead and serves him to the gods as a meal. He also shows the gods the red fur and horns of the slain goat. The god of the dead equips the wild and strong goat with a weapon, and both set off for the creator god's garden. The goat is to kill the lion dragon. The lion dragon recognizes his milk son and tries to dissuade him, but the goat insists on the fight. The lion dragon is defeated and begs for his life, but then he tries to treacherously kill the goat with a rock. This fails, and the red goat kills the lion dragon. The red goat takes the protective covering of the lion dragon, which is possibly its skin, and thereby becomes almost invulnerable. Then he goes into the garden. He goes to the world tree of the great goddess and eats a fruit from this tree. Through this, the strong goat absorbs divine knowledge. He gains insight and intelligence, and thus becomes godlike, yet remains mortal. He thereby becomes human. The first human, exhausted from the battle, lies down to sleep. The goddess of life observes the sleeping man and finds herself drawn to him. However, she is veiled and does not reveal her identity. When the first human awakens, he wrestles with the goddess. After a fierce wrestling match, the goddess is defeated, and the first human realizes she is a woman. Nevertheless, her face remains veiled. They love each other. The goddess disappears again. When the god of the dead appears, he commands the first man to cut off the head of the lion dragon and to cut down the garden tree to make a ship. The first man does as he is told. He cuts off the head of the lion dragon and fashions a ship from the white wood of the tree, shaped like a crescent moon. The first man has no idea that his beloved is hidden inside. He and the god of death return to the city of the gods with the goddess of life. They keep the lion dragon's head in the ship. The god of death now hopes to become his sister's wife. But the goddess of life loves the first human. Since no mortal may see the goddess's face, the creator god crafts a woman's body from a plank of the ship's wood, made from the world tree. Essentially a mask for the goddess of life. Thus, the first woman is created. In this shell, the goddess of life appears to the first human being. The first human, now immortal, lives alongside the great goddess in the city of the gods. Both are happy. However, this displeases the god of death, and he plots how he can harm the first human. The first man and the first woman have numerous children who also live with them in the city of the gods. The first man loved to hunt and became the great hunter. He was accompanied by a loyal friend, a hunting dog. But by killing the animals, he destroyed the work of the creator god, and the god's resentment towards the first man grew, further fueled by the god of death. The gods therefore decree the death of the first human. The task is once again assigned to the god of death. The god of death takes the first human hunting. He lures him to a lake where the goddess of life is bathing unveiled. The first human sees the great goddess and thus violates the divine taboo. The goddess is shocked and transforms the first human into a stag. The god of death pursues the stag. When the stag, tormented by thirst, bends over a spring, the god of death thrusts his spear into its back, thus killing the first human. The first human's trusty hunting dog returns home alone. The goddess of life senses that something terrible has happened and follows the dog. The dog leads the great goddess to the dead body of her lover. goddess finds her lover, she breaks into violent wailing. She tears at her hair and cries so loudly that it can be heard far and wide. Then the great goddess has her lover's body brought to the city of the gods and laid in state there. The body of the first human is embalmed with fragrant oils. The goddess of life spends many days at the first human's bier, her lamenting seemingly endless. The immortal soul of the first human sits beside her in the form of a dove. After many days of mourning, the first human being is buried together with the first woman, the white wooden shell that the great goddess laid down. The goddess of life now asks the creator god to build her a refuge where the god of death cannot reach. The creator god agrees and creates a refuge deep within the earth, another paradisiacal garden. This refuge is connected to the earth's water veins. The refuge can only be reached via an underground labyrinth. Before one can enter the refuge, one must pass the guardian, a large bull. The bull, due to the shape of its horns, is also a symbol of the moon god. As soon as you enter the refuge, you come across the Soul Meadow, a beautiful meadow full of flowers, where the waiting souls will later rest. In the center of the refuge lies an island, upon which stands a golden house shaped like a beehive and crafted from the head of the lion dragon. The island can only be reached by a boat without oars. The boat's shape is likely connected to the crescent moon. The spirit of the first human dwells in the house. The house is therefore also the tomb of the first human. The spirit of the first human is the immortal soul of humanity. All human souls originate from him and return to him. In the center of the house stands a lifelike sculpture of the first human, crafted from gold, silver, ivory, and precious stones. The great goddess often resides in the house with the soul of her beloved, undisturbed by the god of death. After the death of the first man, the god of the dead forces his sister to marry him, and with the dominion over secret knowledge, he seizes power. The creator god is dethroned, and the god of death ascends the throne. The reign of the god of death unleashes chaos, and divine order threatens to collapse. Anarchy, decadence, and madness prevail. People are first taken to the mines and forges of the god of death and must work there. However, those who join the god of death can indulge in idleness, gluttony, and depravity. The god of the dead adopts two children, a boy and a girl, as their father. He raises them. The goddess of life is pregnant with the first human being, a fact unknown to everyone. As the time of birth approaches, the great goddess goes to her sanctuary and gives birth to a boy. She places the child in a box and seals it tightly. Then the goddess of life places the chest in the underground stream. This carries the chest to the riverbank of the city of the gods. There, the chest gets caught in the reeds. A she-wolf finds the child, takes it away, and suckles it. As a servant of the great goddess walks along the riverbank, she finds the boy and takes him with her. The great goddess persuades the god of death to also adopt the foundling as his son, so that the great goddess's son grows up with the god of death as his stepfather. All three children of the god of death are trained to become great warriors. with the daughter of the god of death also becoming a perfect horsewoman who understands the art of warfare on horseback. The son of the great goddess and the daughter of the god of death fall in love. However, they keep their relationship a secret. One day, the brother of the great goddess's son torments the people in the mines. The great goddess's son argues with his brother about this, and the argument escalates to the point where he kills him. The great goddess's son dismembers his brother and buries the parts. Then he flees. During his escape, the son of the great goddess comes to a tunnel near a mountain and follows it. Soon he comes face to face with the guardian bull. However, he manages to escape the bull and continue through the tunnel. After passing through the tunnel, the great goddess's son reaches the Meadow of Souls, where numerous fruit trees grow. Here he meets his mother, who is disguised so that her son does not recognize her. The great goddess shows her son the way to the crescent moonboat and how he can cross the water to reach the golden house. The son of the great goddess crosses the water that protects the island in the refuge in the crescent-shaped boat. After entering the golden house, he is greeted by his mother and learns about his true origins. He then encounters the spirit of his father. The son of the great goddess learns that the god of death, whom he believed to be his father, is the murderer of his actual father, the first human. He vows revenge and vows to restore divine order. According to this account, the great goddess introduces her son to numerous secrets of religion, astronomy, agriculture, medicine, and metallurgy. She also teaches him the secret of writing. The son of the great goddess leaves the sanctuary and secretly preaches to the people. He calls upon them to join him. A large number now follow the son of the great goddess. However, a portion of humanity remains loyal to the god of death. Once the people have decided to which side they wish to belong to, the son of the great goddess and his followers move to the refuge. His lover, the daughter of the god of death, also joins the procession. In the hidden sanctuary, the god warriors are received by the great goddess and the spirit of the first man and equipped with excellent and precious weapons. During his stay in the refuge, the son of the great goddess marries the daughter of the god of the dead. Then the army of holy warriors, together with the spirit of the first man, leaves the refuge and goes to fight against the god of the dead and his followers. The great final battle ensues, and the army of the god of death is defeated. Those who succumb to the temptations of the god of death, and thus to things like pride, greed, lust, betrayal, deceit, and lies, are now destroyed alongside the god of death. The son of the great goddess fights alongside his father's spirit against the god of death, defeats him, and takes him prisoner. The god of death is severely punished. His arms and legs are cut off, and he is bound to a stake from which he cannot escape. Thus, death and disease are also bound to him. The creator god is restored to power, and the spirit of the first man returns to the refuge. The boat to the refuge is taken out of service, so that no more people can reach the refuge, only the immortal souls of the dead. Humanity is brought to Earth in a large ship, a whale formed by the creator god. The ship lands on a high mountain. The son of the great goddess erects an altar on the mountain and offers sacrifices to the gods. He performs the ancient rites and practices the old religion, thereby re-establishing the divine order. The son of the great goddess thus becomes the first priest. Humans populate the earth, and the holy warriors become the ancestors of the nations. The people live in idyllic conditions. But one day, the daughter of the god of death sees her husband joking with another woman, and jealousy awakens within her. This jealousy consumes the daughter of the god of death from within. She therefore goes to her father and begs him for help. The god of death promises to help his daughter if she frees him. The daughter of the god of death unties her father, and he disappears in the form of a snake. With the release of the god of death, death, disease, betrayal, lies, and disorder return to the world. When the son of the great goddess goes outside the palace one day, the god of death lies in wait for him, bites him on the heel, and injects poison through his teeth. The son of the great goddess falls gravely ill from the poison and dies after agonizing suffering. The soul of the great goddess's son now returns to the sanctuary. Here, he will judge the souls of the departed. Those who lived according to the god's rules and were honorable during their lifetime can return to Earth and be reborn in another body. The god of death, however, tries to seduce the children of the first man and draw them to his side. He continues to try to lead them away from divine order, justice, and good morals. Thus, the eternal struggle between the god of death and his sister for control of humankind ensues. Dear viewer, this concludes the story of the primal myth. Although it may seem like a fairy tale, it is the story that underlies all modern religions and most myths. In the next part about the religion of the great goddess, I will explain the religion's encryption methods and codes, which you can use to decipher and understand the myths. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know. Also, tell me which work of the mystery religion you'd like me to discuss next. Write it in the comments.